Because I'm still seeing quite a few zeros on the reflections assignment, I decided to make this video to kind of walk you through what you were supposed to do during the reflections activity. I know some of you may have been absent, some of you struggled more than others with doing the reflections themselves. So I'm going to go through and do the reflections of just one point for you, and you should be able to use what you see in this video with what you're filling in on this sheet and making these observations on Canvas. Okay? So, first thing it asks me to do is, like I said, I'm only going to deal with one point. So I'm only interested in filling in these blanks. So it says plot the point -3, 5 and reflect it over the x-axis. So I put my tracing paper over the graph and I plot a point at -3, 5, and that's here. And I label that point B. And when I did this in class, I showed you that in order to reflect over the x-axis, I'm going to trace the positive x-axis, starting with the origin and tracing that. And because this is a reflection, and because we frequently think of a reflection as flipping something over, I am literally flipping this over. And then realizing that B is now at a completely different location. So notice where B is. And you would be filling it in here. Coming back to where B originally was at -3, 5, I'm going to erase this reflection line because I'm no longer reflecting it over the x-axis. Now, my instructions are telling me to reflect it over the y-axis. So I trace the positive y-axis, starting at the origin and going this way. And once again, I'm going to flip my paper over so that this is exactly where it was. Flip it over, and there it is. And now, again, notice that B is in a completely different location. Notice its coordinates. And write them down here. Come back to where my original location for B is, and I erase this line because, again, I'm no longer interested in reflecting over that line. The next reflection I'm asked for is over the line y = x. On my key, the line y = x is indicated in green. Now, I don't know how good green shows up on your screen, but this is the green line. So I put the point at its original location. I trace the positive part of that green line, and I flip it over. And I notice that B, again, is in a brand new place. Notice its coordinates. And indicate them here. Finally, erase this last line of reflection that I used. And the last line of reflection that I'm using is the line y = -x. I look at my key, y = -x is this orange line. Again, I don't know how well orange shows up on your screen, but y = -x is this line that I'm indicating. So I trace the positive part of that. Can't really call any part of it positive, but I'll trace this part of it. A little off there. And I flip it over so that it lands in the exact same spot. And once again, note the coordinates of B. And write them here. And based on those observations and what you see happening to the x-coordinate, y-coordinate, and both of them together, you should be able to now draw some conclusions about the general point A, B reflected over those 4 lines.